So welcome back, guys. We'll begin from Article 118. We have completed till 117, and we have discussed a very important thing: the difference between financial bill, finance bill. Okay, it is a very common confusing point of confusion. So that was clear. Let's see the procedure generally. Hmm. After this, just after this, we'll start with the Union Judiciary, and that is a very important as well as an interesting part of the Constitution. Okay, each house of parliament may make rules for regulating. Okay, every house is independent to make procedural rule for itself, and until changes are made, whatever the dominion of India both houses were having, they can continue. This is for adaptation, so nothing to discuss over here. Okay, the president, after consultation with the chairman of council of states and speaker of house of people, may make rules. Okay, for joint sittings. Okay. Communication between the two houses, like summoning for joint sitting, etc., which is actually done by the president on the advice of the council of minister. Okay, always remember, everything in the constitution of India, the powers given to the president are to be exercised via the council of minister. Okay, on the advice of. At a joint sitting, speaker shall be presiding. Okay, this we have discussed, that in a joint sitting, it is actually the ruling government which has the upper hand. The speaker is there, who is from the ruling government. The Lok Sabha members are much higher in strength, about double the strength of the Raj Sabha. So they have a wide range of powers and numbers. In case they want to win, they can easily win for that legislative bill. Okay, this is for appropriation of monies. Other than that, we have discussed 117. This is in cases of which is not explicitly mentioned before. Okay, this we have to skip because, okay, business shall be transacted in English or Hindi. Okay, it was explicitly mentioned that after period of 15 years, English will be dropped, but it is still continuing. Okay, both can be used, and even there is a clause which clearly states, after the permission of the presiding officer, any member of parliament can actually address the house in his mother tongue. Okay, so there is no foundation. And also in parliament, uh, that we have discussed secretariat. The secretariat also consists of a staff particularly for translation, so they have all kinds of mechanism for translating different languages. That is done in real time. This is important. Okay, we are skipping that. This is important. No discussion shall take in parliament with respect to the conduct of any judge of Supreme Court or of a High Court in the discharge of his duties, except upon a motion for presiding address. Okay, we'll see this one. From here starts our discussion. I have created certain notes so that it is easy to explain and nothing goes unchecked, because we are here to discuss the points which are left by many YouTube teachers. So we will discuss, and also there's people sitting over here. We will complete everything as if we do not know anything, and also as if we know certain things by the virtue of reading certain books, texts, or materials from other coachings. But still, we will see everything, the judicial developments, and later what is there and what is not. Okay, so discussion cannot be there on conduct of a judge. Also, there is clear mention of the fact that when their removal purpose or removal procedure stuff is happening, the conduct of that judge can be discussed, because then only they will decide whether to remove that judge or not. But a missing point over here is this: their conduct shall not be discussed, but their judgment is open to scrutiny even by the public. Okay, a judgment given by any judge is open to scrutiny. Even the Supreme Court of India has clearly stated in its many statements, during their during their sessions, they have clear indications that judiciary is not trying to impose itself as a higher mechanism than anybody. It is open to scrutiny. I am not remembering the words, but a former CGI himself has said that judges are open to public scrutiny. Okay, people can discuss what they have given. And even in parliament, the judgment or a legal principle that is established by a particular judge is open to discussion. Okay, because then only this parliament can make certain laws or bring certain changes to any existing laws. Okay, discussion on their conduct, which means how they transact business, how they do, or how they, like, whether they are following the rules of judiciary. For example, judges are not allowed to discuss procedure of parliament. Similarly, parliament is not allowed to discuss their procedure, but the judgment which they passed is open to scrutiny. Okay, remember this. Let's see the next slide. Article 22. Let's see the text first. The validity of any proceeding in parliament shall not be, okay, this is the same thing which I previously said. There are two parts. See the text. I'll show you the nuances of it. The thing is, clause 1 states that procedures or irregularities in procedures are not to be discussed in any court in India. Okay, any court includes the Supreme Court also, shall not be inquired by any court. Okay, whether their procedure was correct, whether there were certain irregularities, whether there were vacancy in the membership of parliament or not, everything, these things are not to be inquired by any court. But we'll see a judicial development also. Let's see the second clause. Immunity to the officers and members of parliament from jurisdiction of any court. This is similar to parliamentary privilege, but this is specifically for the actions which they perform in the conduct of their duties. This is specifically for officers and also the members when they perform certain duties for their clear conduct. Okay, but there's a judicial development which we will discuss in Raja Rampal versus Honorable Speaker, Supreme Court case 2007. The Supreme Court of India clearly stated that Article 122 protects irregularities of procedure, but it does not protect, what it does not protect, unconstitutionality or gross illegality. There should not be a clear blanket cover. Okay, we have already discussed this certain times that yes, Parliament can do certain things, but it cannot make itself a sovereign and say that we will do anything outside the reach of judiciary. Okay, so if it is unconstitutional or it is completely illegal, it is open to judicial review. And second, this was already discussed by us. We are just revising this thing. It is clearly, I think, 4 to 5 videos back we have discussed in detail. Sita Soren versus Union of India. It is a very recent case, 2024. Supreme Court of India clearly stated that parliamentary privilege protects expression. Okay, you are free to discuss. You are free to speak or say anything, any manner. Okay, but it does not protect corruption. We have discussed this. Okay, bribery to speak or vote in a certain way is not covered under parliamentary privilege. Okay, let's see the 123. Ordinance making power of the president. While discussing other articles, I have told you what is ordinance. So we'll just have a quick look. Ordinance making power is not a parallel power to the legislative power. It is shall be used only in case of emergencies. Not that emergency, but in emergency in meaning like the house cannot be summoned. Okay, there is certain like dissolution of Lok Sabha maybe, but when both houses are running, this cannot be used, and it is not a parallel power. It is an executive power. Okay, it is termed in the legislative powers of the president, but whatever president does through the executive way. Okay, understand the difference. Ordinance making power of president. Ordinance is same as an act, same power in force, but it should only be used when needed, not as a bypass to the legislature, and which is the legislature in the union parliament, and at the state level it is the state legislative assembly, and in case bicameral there are two houses. If both houses reassemble, the max time is 6 weeks. In 6 weeks, both the houses can pass it, okay, both shall pass, or they can leave it as it is. After 6 weeks, it will dissolve, become null and void in itself, or also before passing of 6 weeks, whenever they want, even on day one of their reassembling, both houses can clearly stay say that we do not want this, and they can pass a resolution like dissolving it. Max life then it becomes 6 month, 6 week. How? Because minimum period when the houses are at recess period is maximum is 6 month. So let's say ki at this point it is certain date, and at this point the house resumes. This can be max at max it can be 6 months. And from this point to this point, when the legislature does not do anything, and it shall become null and void on itself, this is 6 weeks. Okay, at this, let's see the judicial development related to it. It is very important, and it is a very famous case. This is nothing like which is not famous, so it is covered in every book. DC Wadhwa versus State of Bihar. What happened at that time? The state government in Bihar used the ordinance making power of the governor more than 100 times, I think. Okay, or it can be even more, for passing certain legislative bills which can also be passed by the bicameral house over there. Still, they were choosing the governor route. You can understand why. Okay, Supreme Court stated, this is in 1987. Supreme Court clearly stated that repromulgating ordinances again and again without attempting to pass them in legislature is clearly unconstitutional. If the legislature is meeting after every 6 months or at least three times a year, okay, then why are you following this ordinance route? Why are you not going through the legislative route? Okay, this is clearly unconstitutional. Again, a case from Bihar. Krishna Kumar Singh versus State of Bihar. I think this was around 2000 or 10. You can check it. I forgot to write this. It is after 2000. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Comment down if I'm wrong. But it is. I think it is after 2000. Okay, it is not a 90s case. So, presidents or governors satisfaction. Okay, very important point. Ordinance is issued by the president, so he has to give his satisfaction. Actually, the council of minister advises him, and when he is satisfied that yes, it is okay, he can. And the advice tendered by president, by the council of minister to the president or the governor, is safe yet open to judicial review. Also, why the president or the governor satisfaction was made as such is open to judicial review. Okay, let's see the 124. From here we start the union judiciary. This is the same thing which I explained you. Shall be laid before the houses of the parliament 6 weeks from the reassembly of parliament. Okay, it has a life of 6 weeks from the reassembly when both houses are reassembled. May be withdrawn at any time by the president. Also, any time when the president wants, he can withdraw. Also, in cases where parliament is not supposed to make any law, in cases of the state list, or in cases where parliament is having no right to make law, okay, under this constitution, this ordinance passed by the president shall also become void, because ordinance and parliament's reach is same. Okay, what parliament does, ordinance also does, but in case of a reasonable emergency, like certain things happen and both houses cannot be convened at the same time, so ordinance route is operated or used. A very important part, chapter 4 of the union. This is the union judiciary. We will start from article 124. Okay, this until now, whatever we have studied was actually just going through it. But from here we will see every detail also. Till now also I have tried to give all the details, but yet this is an intro class, so we are not going into this depth. But in this particular section we will cover everything. I'll also tell you about the collegium system from history to now, and also how it has evolved and what is the difference between selection of judges, election of judges to the high court or to the supreme court, what is njsc, etc. Okay, let's start with the very basics. See this first. 124 clause 1. There shall be a Supreme Court. Remember the word shall? Now I'll not have to explain, because if you have seen my videos before, you know what this shall means. Okay. When legal terms, shall is used, what this means. Okay. Supreme Court of India consisting of a Chief Justice of India, and until Parliament by law prescribes a larger number of not more than 7 judges. It has been amended from time to time. It is around 32 plus 1. Okay. If I'm wrong, just correct me. It is 32 plus 1 or 33 plus 1. Okay, one Chief Justice and other are puisne judges. They are known as puisne judges. Every judge of the Supreme Court shall be appointed by the President. Okay, by warrant under his hand and seal after consultation with such of the judges of the Supreme Court. This word consultation has been a bone of contention, or actually a point of confusion for the judiciary and the parliament. They have tried to interpret it in their ways, but using the three judges cases that we will discuss after this, it has been settled that this consultation means concurrence. Okay, we will study the history also. This is a very important and very interesting part of the constitution. Supreme Court and High Courts in states as President may deem necessary for purpose and shall hold 65 years. Okay, provided that in case of appointment of a Justice, Chief Justice of India shall always be consulted. Shall, a very clear word given, shall be consulted. And this consultation also means concurrence. Judge can address resignation to the President, removed in the manner provided. Okay, 5 years Judge High Court. This is the qualifications, and this is a very vague qualification. But no judge has been appointed through this route. I always used to think why this is there. I never got the answer clearly in any book or in any way. If you know the answer, tell me, because sometimes I also do not know everything. What does this means? I know this means a distinguished jurist in the eyes of a president, but why this? Actually, I know what it is, but why this subclause C is added? Okay, there must be a reason. I haven't found it. Union Judiciary, a very important part. From 124 to 128, let's see. 124 appointed by a president. Okay, collegium system we will discuss. It has been evolved. Nowhere in the constitution the word collegium is mentioned. Okay, this is hidden in the meaning of consultation. From time to time it has changed. Okay, currently it is known as collegium system. It has evolved to a very different kind of structure. So NJC has been removed. It is a 2015 act, National Judicial Appointments Commission. Supreme Court struck it down, stating that it is an uh, encroachment on the independence of judiciary. I also think so, because politics has no role in the judiciary, because country, a nation like India, judicial independence is at most important. Okay, distinguished jurist, no one till now has been appointed through this route. Why? And why this route is present in the constitution? This makes me think. Let's go back and see a very two-thirds majority, both the houses. Okay, and resolution shall be present, judges should be inquired, and also a very important part, a thing which is skipped by everybody. I do not know why this is not discussed, but I will tell in the collegium system, when even the judges have has been removed, there is a clause which protects them. Okay, we will discuss that in collegium. So today's class ends here. We will come back, and also to the guys sitting here, we will resume from the next day. So thank you so much for this. I really like certain things. बैठो 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 बैठ जाइए बैठ जाइए।